This video was sponsored by Privacy.com.
Alright, so we are in agreement that if you bring your baby to the movie theater, then you are no longer allowed to have any more children, and you give up your right to vote. Aye. And so it becomes law. Yep, if you're going to bring one to the theater, you'd probably vote one into office. Now, moving right along, we need to discuss what is legally allowed when you have noisy upstairs neighbors.
Yes, finally, the day of reckoning is upon us!
I would first like to discuss classification. Currently, excessive noise from an upstairs neighbor is classified as disturbing the peace. I would like to bump that up to terrorism. Excellent. And are you proposing it be classified as terrorism or on the same level as terrorism, but not the same thing? They should be on the same level with some wiggle room in each direction, since one can be worse than the other, just depending on the circumstances. And that will be determined in a court of law. Perfect. Oh, but they should always be classified as worse than murder. State your case? Of course. See, unlike with victims of murder, when it comes to noisy upstairs neighbors, I have to live with it. Living. There's a difference there. Additionally, people who are murdered don't necessarily suffer. When it comes to my upstairs neighbors, I always do. The motion passes. I would also like to state for the record that that was the most logically consistent argument I've ever heard in my entire life. Now, I would like to move from classification to ramifications. The floor is open. Yes, I would like to begin with my proposal of you are allowed to fire 10 rounds into the ceiling from whatever gun you would like every 15 minutes until the noise stops. Veto, I propose we instead allow 5 rounds every 10 minutes. Reason being, due to the excessive noise coming from upstairs, I know exactly where they are, so I don't need 10 rounds to hit my target. And then 10 minutes is also roughly the amount of time in between commercials, so that gives me something to do while I wait for my program to resume. I can make that work. My issue with the rounds through the ceiling is that it has potential for instant kills, and that means the upstairs neighbors will not suffer as much as I have. So what I am proposing is you are allowed to break into their apartment while they are sleeping, release venomous snakes, and then bolt the door shut from the outside. I would like to propose a substitution where instead of snakes, you can elect to choose rats infected with rabies. Very good. And what would be the upper limit on the number of rats you could set loose in their apartment? Yes, I've put 5 per person living in the residence. Great. And with the snakes? 3 per person living there, but with no upper limit on the size of the snakes. I would also like to propose a third substitution of 1 Australian funnel web spider. All right. And would that be the deadliest spider on the planet? Yes, it would be. And if you do not have access to a funnel web spider, one will be provided for you. Of course, that's where I want my tax dollars going. So are we limiting it to only this species? Actually, amendment. For any spider, if the death caused by its venom is slow and painful, then I'll allow it as a substitution. Great. And have you looked into whether this would be classified as cruel and unusual punishment? Irrelevant due to the case of Plessy versus upstairs neighbor, which clearly states that once your footsteps wake me up or keep me up, then the 8th Amendment no longer applies to you. Of course. It's Law 101. Okay, so we're going to go through with the snakes, rats, and spiders with the upper limit specifications. And then I'm going to add a clause where if you elect to do none of these and you want to go through the legal process, then upon a guilty verdict, the upstairs neighbors would be immediately sentenced to living under a tap dancing studio in Siberia for the rest of their lives. All in favor? Aye. And so it becomes law. Alright, moving right along, what is legally allowed when Netflix, or really any subscription service, raises their monthly rate for like the 6th time without my permission? Yes, so that will be classified as sexual assault, and I propose that in order for the price increase to officially go through, the CEO is legally required to mud wrestle a crocodile and win. I was thinking a grizzly bear. I think an 800-pound gorilla that's been on steroids for a year is more than fair. You know you guys could also use Privacy.com to help with this, right? Okay, so they provide the crocodile? No, what Privacy does is it allows you to create virtual cards online instead of having to use your real ones, so you keep your bank information and identity secure. Ooh. I know. So it works just like this. All you have to do is create your account and link your US bank account or debit card, then you're ready to create your virtual cards. Like maybe you want to do a one-time purchase for, I don't know, snakes because of noisy upstairs neighbors.
That'd be my first purchase.
Yeah, and maybe I won't be using the snake website again after this. So I just make my virtual card, set a limit for how much the purchase will be, and set it for one-time purchase, and boom, good to go. Now I have a virtual card I can use to make my payment with that not only keeps my personal bank information secure, but also ensures I won't be charged anything more than my limit. And with this one-time purchase option, the card will automatically be closed right after the purchase.
No way.
It's true. And if you want to make a card for an ongoing subscription service like Netflix, no problem. Just make another virtual card, set your monthly, yearly, or per transaction limit, and boom, good to go again. Then with their extension, you just go to Netflix, click the extension right on the screen, and the card number auto-populates. And Privacy.com keeps all your virtual cards organized so you know exactly what you're spending your money on and how much. Okay, this is good because I'm probably going to be ordering my snakes on a subscription basis. Oh, but before you do, if you go to Privacy.com/ZachStar and create an account, you'll get $5 off your first purchase. Ooh. Pretty cool. But we're still sticking to the crocodile, grizzly bear, gorilla law thing, right? Aye. And so it becomes law. So as you can see from photo evidence, it is clear that my client only released 7 snakes into the upstairs neighbor's apartment, well below the legal limit for a residence with 3 people living in it. Objection, Your Honor, one of the occupants was a baby, which the couple brought along with them to the new Spider-Man movie, where my client had to endure on and off baby noises for the entire 2 hours and 28 minutes. That's quite the accusation there. Do you have any proof? I understand these images are disturbing in nature, but it's important that everyone in this courtroom see what kind of monsters my client has been dealing with, and really ask yourself, would you have done anything different? You know, never in my 12 minutes of being a judge have I seen such blatant disregard for human sanity. I'm at a loss for words. Because of this, we would like to countersue, seeking legal action immediately. And what kind of punishment will you be seeking? The death penalty, Your Honor. Unfortunately, due to new state laws, along with the extreme nature of the offense, the death penalty has been deemed not painful enough. So the best I can do, since you already went with the snake route, is sentence the couple to 5 years of living in Siberia beneath a tap dancing studio. We request beneath a 24/7 circus instead of a tap dancing studio. I can't do a circus. Your Honor, have you seen the photos? I can go up to a bowling alley. We'll accept. Court is adjourned. Justice is served.